everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Life After Infidelity. I am your host, Brianna Latrice. This podcast was created to really just remove the shame of your decision of whether you choose to stay or go after infidelity. Infidelity is a very complex topic or even experience to be dealing with, and so that is why I have decided to create this podcast, just so that beautiful listeners will know that they are not alone as they experience the infidelity. And today we have a really special guest, and our topic is gonna be fire. Like, I'm so excited about the topic, and I'll share a little bit about how we got into the topic here in a little bit. But first, Miss Jade, I'll let you introduce yourself. Welcome to the podcast.
You're hearing me?
Okay, now I am. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited
Yes.
to be here. Excited to be here.
I know. Thank you for even, offering, and especially the topic we're about to talk about. I want to say
Yes.
thank you for even just being vulnerable enough to be honest in this, because I think that this is a very important topic for us to cover. But real quickly, introduce yourself. Let the people know who you are, what you do, and all that great stuff, because you're an author. You're so much. You're a podcast host.
Right, so my name is Gloria Adigo Lawrence, also known as Jade. So I'm a podcast host. I'm an author of the book, The Unfiltered, of a book. It is called Things Left Unsaid Before I Do, Diary of Gloria Adigold. And I am a social worker. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm everything.
Wow, so many hats. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, okay. So, how me and Jade kind of connected was Jade reached out to me on IG, and I don't even know, like, do we have a mutual friend or?
Yes, hold on. It's a divorce podcast. It's a divorce podcast.
Yes,
Yes,
Twyla,
yes,
Twyla,
yes,
Twyla, Twyla.
yes, yes.
Okay, yes. Okay, now that makes sense. So, yeah, so Jade reached out to me and asked me to be on her podcast, and so I had the opportunity to be a guest on her podcast not too long ago, and so make sure you guys go check that episode out as well, and we'll be giving you details about how to connect with Jade and her podcast. But afterwards, we were just kind of recapping about the podcast, and she shared with me, or you shared with me, that you have been married, you were married before your current
Yes.
marriage, and that you were cheated on in your marriage. And I don't even know how we got on the subject, but we were talking about what the title of today's podcast is going to be, which is, and I feel like I've had so much suspense leading up to this, but it's going to be good. And it's I got my lick back. And how we came, so what we're talking about is, if you've ever been cheated on, you probably already know what the term got my lick back means. But
Uh-huh.
basically, it's like you find out, that your partner was cheating on you, and you want revenge. And so you feel
Yes.
like the best way to get revenge is to go back and cheat on them as well.
Uh-huh.
And so when Jay shared that with me, I was like, listen, this got to be a topic. We've got to talk about this. Because so many people, like, as I'm coaching people, they're talking about that, like they're sharing, some are saying I got my lick back, some are saying I'm thinking about getting my lick back, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's really important for us to talk about, right? Because I think that that's an important topic that maybe a lot of us don't touch on when we talk about infidelity. I think so much we just talk about like the feelings that come with it, but not so much how we respond to it.
Yes.
And I just want to, first maybe tell us about your initial reactions in your first marriage, where you found out or you discovered about your husband's infidelity. Like, what was your initial reaction in response to that?
I want to ask you though, which one? Which time?
Oof. You should have warned me, Jade. Look,
Which time do you want?
see, I knew this was going to be good. So let me tell you this. Let me go back a little bit. It's so funny. I wish you would have messaged me earlier, because I was like, I really just want to be basic on this podcast today. But I was like, but I told Jade to be cute. So I was like, dang, I
Yeah.
got to put some clothes
Uh-huh.
So when you text me, I was like, see, we could have just been chill because I already
We
knew this
could.
was gonna be a very good girlfriend topic. Um, well, woo. Okay, I didn't know you were gonna hit me with that. Let's go with the very first time you found out. You know what? Let's do this. Let's go with the very first time and then the very last time.
Okay.
I want
So
to.
the very first time, I know it was in December,
Mm-hmm.
and I was at my workplace,
Mm-hmm.
and I went home for lunch because I didn't live too far from my work. So I went home from lunch, and something said, go on the computer and look, because something has been happening. So I went on the computer and I looked and I saw that there's a message tab opening in Facebook.
Yeah.
And I read it, and I first of all was shocked because I, I didn't know. I didn't expect it. Maybe I didn't
Yeah.
expect it.
Yeah.
So I was kind of shocked.
Yeah.
And then I read it through and I could not believe it because it was an older woman.
Mm.
Um, and there were questions about what do you have on, whatever. So I'm like, what's
Okay.
and I'm looking at the time that these things were sent. And I'm like, you were at home.
Yeah.
So you were
Yeah.
at home with me
Mm-hmm.
having this conversation with somebody else.
Like the ultimate deception.
Exactly.
You know.
Like,
Yeah.
we're all on, you're on your phone device and it's okay. But
Mm-hmm.
then to be doing that and probably
In
you
my
were
presence.
beside me
Yeah.
doing what's happening. So I mean, my first reaction, I couldn't believe it. And I downloaded all the chat and I sent it to all my siblings to read.
Wow.
Not believe that this was happening.
Okay.
And this was like a year into the marriage.
Now, are your siblings all sisters?
I have one brother. The rest of them are
You
sisters.
sent it to your brother too? Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Sent it to everybody. And everybody was pissed. Everybody was so upset. What is this? Etc. And I mean, I went home and I spoke to him about it, and he was like, don't worry, it's not anything. He's a bigger woman and I don't like her like that. Or just having a conversation. And I'm saying, you're asking somebody what they have on, if they have on clothes, and if they're in bed by themselves, and what they do for sex, because they don't have anybody, and that's just a random conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And we went on and we argued about it. And I mean, at that time, he was asking her, do you want me to get a job for you if you want to switch jobs? And I was
Are
like,
you serious?
and I was at the point wanting to leave my job and couldn't leave my job. And this was at the point where I got a job. I did not leave the job because he said he did not want me to take a job that was paying higher than he was. So I decided to not take the job because of that.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
And then he goes ahead asking somebody else if they need a job. I was blown away. So,
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, at that time, I still didn't think about, oh, let me go and do anything. I didn't.
Yeah.
Because I was just hurt. I was hurt and devastated that this is just 1 year and this is already happening. What's happening here?
Right. Right.
So I mean, that was the first time. The second time is, well, the last time basically is when I checked his phone. I went to my sister's house, came back home, and I went to work the following day. When I got back home, I just felt uneasy.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in my room and I heard something say, look in the clothes basket, dirty clothes basket. I'm like, why am I looking in the dirty clothes basket?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking in it, and then I see his clothes that he wore the day before with stains on it. On the zip part, on the pants, stains on it. Listen, on the zip part, and I said, hold up, what's this? I went again and I looked and I saw something on the underwear, and I'm like, what? Wait, what's happening? But the shirt, and I saw stains at the bottom in the shirt where it was tucked up, and I was like,
yep,
somebody has been having some enjoyment happening here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, I took out my phone, research what blue light is, decide to go do my own investigation as to what this is, put it on the bed, and try to imagine what is happening in my life. Why is it that I'm coming home to?
Yeah.
And I took a picture and I sent it to him, and he said, what? I said, what is this? And he laughed. He was laughing. Something fell on his clothes. So something fell on your clothes, only on the zipper part
Mm-hmm.
and went through the zipper part on your clothes, on your underwear. I need somebody to explain that. And he was laughing, and I'm just causing problem, and I just want to cause issues in the marriage. And I mean, I left it for some last. First of all, I sent it again to about two or three of my friends and asked them, "What does this look like to you?"
Yeah.
But I didn't want to tell them who it was.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be embarrassed, so I
Right.
didn't want to tell them whose clothes it was or whatever. And
Yeah.
I mean, they were like, "No, he's cheating. Whoever that is, something is wrong. 'Cause that don't look right." And that
Yeah.
was dried semen on your clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah. And then I left it for a couple of days, and then I went back home, and I was trying to plug in my Kindle at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw a message pop up on his phone about, "Hey babe, what are you eating?"
Mm.
And I'm like, and I don't know who this is, so I asked him about it again, and he's like, "Why are you looking through my phone? Why are you looking through my phone?"
Yeah.
And then he ended up calling me the beef.
Ooh.
Why you whatever it is must look through people's phone, etc., etc. That was the last time.
Wow. So, okay, how many times did you actually find out?
A number of times, a number of times.
Several
Sometimes I
times.
couldn't, because there were times I saw the woman somewhere and I went and asked her, "Let's take a photo together," and she did because her partner was there
Mm-hmm.
and she didn't want him to know what it was about. So we took photos and I sent it to my ex-husband at the time to show him that, hey, I know about her. I've
Wow.
confronted others also, like, hey, I know about them too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that
Yeah.
you know several times.
Yeah. And so, this is, again, this is why I feel like it's so important for me to have this podcast, because as I am now coaching, I'm hearing like just the trauma stories that people are going through. And, I feel like I always have to preface this by saying that women cheat on men as well. But I work with women on a daily basis. So whenever I'm talking, I'm mostly going to be talking about women. But, like, I feel like if I would have known about these stories a lot sooner, it would have helped me to leave sooner. Or it would have helped me to know, you know what I'm saying? Like what to look for if this person is actually going to change or anything like that. Because, yeah, it's just amazing to hear these stories, especially, and there's similarities in terms of like, them making a mockery of your pain and your hurt
Yeah,
when you bring it to them,
right,
of them not taking responsibility or accountability for their actions, giving excuses and lame excuses at that, and then like just blaming you. And
right.
as women, we already internalize when our partners cheat on us, but then when they turn back around and put it on us as well, like it does so much to us. But I want to talk about, really what we're here to talk about today is getting your lick back, because that's what you shared with me, is that you didn't go through with it, but you actually thought about it. And I kind of want to know, like, what was going through your mind, what was your thought process when you were even considering that, and why?
I think it was the fact that I gave up so much to be with you, despite what many persons said. They were like, "Don't do this,
Yeah.
don't do this."
Yeah. Yeah.
And I gave up all of that to be with you. I gave up jobs to be with you. In fact, I gave you a job that I was supposed to get
Mm-hmm.
so that you can be happy. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I minimized my happiness
Yep.
so that he can be happy, and then you still go ahead and be doing this to me. So I was hurt and I was angry. And then at the point, because he kept on saying, "Oh, you're fat. I've never been fat. Nobody's gonna want you because you're fat," and all sorts of stuff. And I mean, that for me, that for me pissed me off. So I wanted to prove to him that I can still get somebody and I can still get people, whether he likes it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So there were times when there was one time actually when his ex-girlfriend, he wanted to still go to the church that she was at.
Mm-hmm.
And I went with him and I saw her brother there and I started flirting with her brother in front of him.
Oh, wow. But like, why were you doing? I mean, I get it, but like, why were you doing
Just
those things? Like,
hurt.
just hurt.
It's
Or
hurt.
yeah.
Being hurt.
Mhm.
Being
Mhm.
hurt that I'm being the quote unquote good wife. And I'm not
Yeah.
getting anything back for it
And
at all.
see, okay, that's something else we gotta talk about. I don't even know where this conversation finna go. Anyways, I want to go back to this. What you said, you gave up so much, and you kind of at some points like nullified pieces of your happiness, and we do that as women in relationships. Why? Why do we do that? Why?
Don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know why I think we feel like we need to do that in order to have a man that's happy or a happy home.
Yeah.
Um, I, I don't know. And I think for me also it's because I know that he didn't have such a high self-esteem and I had a lot, according to what he said. So I wanted him to start feeling good about himself. So I would do
Wow.
things or play things low to make him feel better about himself because he normally used the excuse, well, he's doing what he's doing because, you know, he met me when I used to live on the hill and he didn't and he can't provide for me, etc. So I used to say, all right, we don't need to live on the hill. We don't need to have this kind of lifestyle if you can't provide it. So I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
Even though I'm used to something else, I'm okay with doing this so that we can start from scratch and we can grow together.
Mhm.
But I don't know, like nothing I could do would make him happy or be
Yeah.
comfortable at all.
And that's why I always speak to women about the never internalize the acts of infidelity because it has nothing to do with you. Even though they'll put it on us and say, "Well, you weren't doing this or you had too much masculine energy." You know what I'm saying? Like they'll
Yeah.
say so much stuff, but it literally has nothing to do with you, and it has nothing to do about looks because if that was the case, Beyonce would have never gotten cheated on. Holly Berry
Listen,
would have not never got cheated on. You know what I'm
listen.
saying? And
Uh,
I love what you brought up about insecurities, and where you were saying that you were very secure in your esteem
Right.
and he wasn't. And it's so funny, I was just talking about this last night with one of my close friends, and she was like, one of the things that irked her about my ex-husband, and this was when we were early on in the dating stages, she said, I remember when he made you stop wearing shorts. Cause and
Listen.
yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
5'9", so I have long legs. You know, so any pair of shorts I wear for the most part are gonna be
Yeah.
short on me. And yeah, like he really convinced me that I shouldn't be wearing short shorts. It's disrespectful. It's it doesn't. And my friend was like, and that's when I learned that he in fact has low self-esteem. It had nothing to do with you. This is way
And
before he started cheating on me, but I think that those are like components that I think as you and I go out and now, are kind of wanting to advocate for this or speaking to women, like really kind of letting women see some of those signs early on that can kind of show like
yes.
because if a man truly isn't secure in himself and he gets with a woman that is, and I know this is probably going to bring some backlash, but I'm going to say it because this is what I have observed as I am coaching women is
Right.
that they have women who have a lot of confidence. And I'm not saying that they're disrespectful. I'm not saying that they don't respect their partner because like you just said, you did a lot to
Yes.
appease his
Right.
ego, but it was still never enough. And if that man isn't secure in himself, it doesn't matter what you and I do as their partners. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not going to stop anything.
I mean, I think at a point, so he was saying, I'm stealing his shine. So I'm normally a person, I love to dress up. I love to dress up. I love to wear heels. And he was saying, oh, you don't look good in heels. And,
But we're
you know,
partner. How can you steal somebody's shine? And y'all a
listen,
partner.
I don't understand it. He was like, every
Yeah.
time we go, people always want to talk to you and not me. And I'm like,
Oh
what is
wow.
happening? What is happening? Uh,
Yeah.
Both of us were known. I was known
Mhm.
because of the scene I was in, and he's known because of the scene he's in. So we're both known. So I
Yeah.
mean, what's the problem? We both complement each other.
Yeah.
So we used to be in, and the worst part is, I used to do backup singing for him. And at
Mm.
that point, also, he would sometimes disrespect me so much, and afterwards, I need to back up sing for him, and I'll go sing, and then come back home, and then watch him talk to
Really?
his other woman. Listen,
Oh
it
my
was
gosh. So, okay. You found out and now you're flirting with him purposely in front you're flirting with other people purposely in front of his face. And so I guess let's talk about what made you decide not to go through with it.
It's I think it's the morality for me of everything. And I'm like, if it is that I'm gonna be doing this, I'm not gonna have to be thinking about how to go about doing this. And I can't sit down and be thinking about planning around how to cheat on you and how to make you feel bad. It's taking too much of me. It's taking too much of my time. I
Yeah.
started it. I started thinking about it. In fact, I even said, listen, I'm gonna go on a date with somebody else. And I decided call the person, do you want to go out or whatever. In fact, at that time also I was outrightly taking invitation, like if men called to me or whatever, okay, where do you want to go, etc.
Yeah.
And then at a point I was like, this cannot work.
But the whole time, but y'all are still living together and everything during
I'm
this
still
time.
living together.
Okay.
Still living together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, this is not right. I can't go through this anymore because it's too much. It's taking too much out of me and I'm still
Yeah.
dealing with it. So am I gonna be on a date and saying I hate this man for the entire date? I'm gonna be upset at him, which makes no sense to me. That defeats the purpose of the date with the other person anyway. So I
Yeah.
was like, if it is that I'm gonna do this, it's best
Mhm.
I leave.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm.
So, did you even discuss like when you were thinking about like getting revenge and stuff? Did you even discuss that with anybody, or did you kind of just keep that a secret?
I think I told one of my girlfriends, and she said, if you're gonna be, make sure it's somebody who can provide for you better.
Well, okay. Look, she was like, she gave you that. Okay.
I mean, because
So,
I think people saw how he was treating me.
mhm.
So they were
Mhm.
like, girl, if you want to go for it, go for it. But at a point, I was like, no, um, it's not just not who I am. I don't know how to do this. And even when I called him, because I told him, I'm going to do this. And I called him and said, listen, I'm going to be having sex and talking to you at the same time. You're not going to even know about it. So I'm just telling you before it happens. You know, yes. Is it because he normally used to say, I don't, I'm dry eyed in terms of, I would just tell him what's going to happen, how it's going to go.
Wow.
And I don't care about your reaction towards it because you have hurt me. So this is what's going to happen to you.
It's it's a really different kind of hurt.
It
And
is.
I think it's so funny. Someone called me today because their son cheated on his girlfriend, and actually his girlfriend called her as the son's mother. And you know, she was saying that she told her son like what she found out, and he just had all of these excuses, right? And I think that for me, what I tell women when I'm coaching them is one of the first component, like one of the first things you should look for is how this person responds to you when you bring up the infidelity. Because if they are, not, again, like we said earlier, not taking the accountability and the responsibility for it, then you can't trust them to be careful with your heart as you navigate this healing process. Because, like you said, we're so hurt that it taints our thought process and our decision making process. Because you said it, like, you slowed down and you were like, you know what, my morals wouldn't necessarily allow you to
Right.
do it, and some people are so hurt that they just throw morals out the window because they're just trying to figure out, how can I hurt this person as bad as they hurt me. And I think that's important. Like, it's very, I'm gonna say it's emotional abusive to, when somebody acknowledges or brings up that, hey, you're cheating on me, for you not to take accountability on it, and instead, you know what I'm saying, like, put the blame on that person.
The thing is, I don't know if he knew how to because he's from an
Mm.
era where it's like, well, they have the ring. So what are you complaining about?
Oh, wow.
Yes, because he said it to me already. He was like, you have the ring already. Everybody knows that you're my wife. So what's the problem? Yeah. As if that's enough.
As if that's enough.
You know. So when I took off the ring and I said, well, take your ring. It's not enough. And he was like, I don't know what else you want from me.
Mm-hmm.
How
Mm-hmm.
about you not cheat and be a good husband? How about that? But
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody wants that. And I think he was still battling with where he's coming from. And he was like, I took him out of his world. And this is
Mm.
why, because he doesn't know how to cope in my world and it's too difficult. And there was just
So,
a lot.
Did he want to be married, or were you more like giving him the option to, hey, marry you, or you were going to leave, or what?
I didn't. I think he saw that other men were pursuing me.
Okay, so he felt pressure, like he felt like, okay, well, I gotta win her, and this
Right.
is
And
okay.
I, right. And I think because other people were saying, oh, he's a girl you can't get. I think that also for him was a big accomplishment. If I can get her, okay, well, I'll show others that I can do that. Right. That was what it is.
But again, that goes back to, and I'm basically reiterating this for listeners of a lot of the times what you'll see is that there's an insecurity within that person that causes them to go and cheat. Because
Yes.
they'll do things too. I can't speak for all people, but I'm gonna say some people will do things purposely too because they know that that will lessen your
Yes.
esteem.
Mhm.
And I'll
Right.
say that too. Like one of my best friends told me years ago, she was like, I remember you being the type of person who knew that you were beautiful, and every person at college wanted to talk to you, and you knew it. And she was like, and now I've sat back and I've watched you go to no self-esteem.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
I think that those men know that because they have an insecurity of like, oh, there's no way that I could land this woman. And then they, win us over. But their insecurities, again, they still haven't dealt with. So they do things to kind of help lessen our insecurity so that we'll stay and they can treat us like trash. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
almost like a ego jump. But I want to say, speak to women who were once in your shoes where they're considering the whole revenge thing and they're in this cycle of, really planning in their mind how they can get back to that person. Like, what would you say to that woman right now?
They don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Revenge is not sweet as we think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because after we do it, then what?
Mm.
Person still hurts us afterwards. We're still hurt. We're still dealing with it.
Yeah.
So revenge is not dealing with the pain that we're going through at all. It causes actually more pain.
Yeah.
Because we haven't dealt with the first pain that we need to deal with.
Mm.
So do not do that because then it becomes harder because now you have to get over the hurt that you're feeling because of the infidelity. Plus, you putting yourself in a situation that you did not want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that and our vulnerable state, people can use us
Mm-hmm.
and treat us even worse because they know what we're coming from
Yeah.
and that we have not dealt with it. So it makes no sense. And we don't want to lower our standards
Yeah.
to be, to go down to something that we're not just because someone hurt us. It's a different type of hurt.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's also, is our character is important.
Yeah.
Important. And I know I've cheated many times in my brain, in my mind. I've done it.
We all have.
Many, many times. you know. But it's best not to go out and do it because we also don't want persons to see us that way.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, you don't want people to look at you and say, you went to the everybody just because you got hurt by this one person.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not do that to ourselves. Our character is important.
Yeah.
Our self-esteem.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, you cut out a little bit. Say something now.
Hearing me now?
Okay, yeah. Now I can. Sometimes you go in and out. But that's really good. Like not allowing yourself to stoop down to their level.
Right.
And even what I took from you is heal your first hurt, right? Because basically what you're doing is you're allowing your hurt to react.
Yes.
As opposed to slowing down and actually and I think too, it's easy for us to busy ourselves in the anger because it allows us not to feel the hurt.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's really important. So I want to talk really, really briefly. I know I said we weren't going to be too long, but this is so good. And I feel like this is important too, because now you're remarried, you have a family. Can you kind of tell us like what that looked like for you in terms of you made the decision to leave, and what did that process start to look like up until like where you are now, where you're in a very happy, fulfilling marriage and
Right.
felt vulnerable enough to trust someone else to even birth their children and things like that?
My God. So, so first and foremost, I wanted to leave bad, and I prayed about it and was waiting but I did not want to leave. At the time I left, I got locked out of my home.
Mm.
That's how I left. And when I got locked out, I said, okay, this is time for me to go.
Okay.
So that's how I left. It was a dramatic exit.
Okay. It's fine.
That's um okay, so I think in my mind I already left the relationship or the marriage before I
Mm-hmm.
left.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I left long time ago. I was just waiting to be out. So we were separated and living together at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided, it's time to go after that dramatic thing happened. So I already left. I did not want to date anyone because of what I have been through. I went through 6 years of counseling, actually, from
Oh,
I was in the
six.
first, I was in
Wow.
the marriage. So when I came out, I was going counseling almost every week
Wow.
to work on myself. So at that
Mm-hmm.
point, I think I was okay. Was I still hurt about all of the things? Yes. The good part is my ex and I did meet and have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
What he said, we met twice. The first time we met, he said to me, the problem is that you loved me more than I loved you.
Mm. That's powerful for him to acknowledge that.
Right.
Yeah.
And he said that's why he treated me how he did.
Mm.
So from that, I took also, I would never let anybody treat me bad because they don't love me and I love them.
Girl, you gonna make me throw this mic at you?
So that was the first time meeting. The second time meeting, he wanted to come back. And he was like, I should come back home, etc. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. But I said, I'm gonna let you go now. So I'm not gonna hold on to you anymore. I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore. You're a good person, but you're not a good person for me, and I'm no longer angry at you. I'm no longer angry at you because I just realized you are a good person, but you're not good for me. And I decided to let go.
You know what? Hold on. See, the people finna be mad. I'm finna do a cliffhanger because this is so good, and we're out of time right now. But we gonna come back. We're gonna come back, and so I'm gonna end this right now. I want to say thank y'all so much for listening to Life After Infidelity. And I'm not even going to let Jade share where you can find her because I am going to leave that for part two. So y'all can come back and listen to part two because this right here, oh, this is good. And I didn't even know I was finna do this, but I'm finna do this. We finna do a part two, Jay. You okay with that?
I'm good with that.
Okay. So listen, beautiful people, I just want to say again, thank you so much for tuning in to Life After Infidelity podcast. Definitely come back for part two, and we're going to really actually delve into what life looked like because I have some questions. I want to know how she told this man he couldn't come back no more and she wasn't in love with him. Like, I got a lot of questions. So you want to hear these answers and you're ready for your healing. Tune back in next week for the next episode, and we'll see you beautiful people next time. Bye.